Hello, dreamers. Hope you're having a good day. I have really been enjoying watching all the feedback this week as we talk about money mindset. And that makes me happy because it's very close to my heart and something, if you read earlier today, my story, and how I sort of came out of that and how challenging that was and how I turned that around. But also, just makes me excited that you guys are talking about it and that you're being open and um, engaging and seeing the different ways that we have turned money into a villainous thing, right? Because we talk about how the love of money is the root of all evil, and almost always in movies and TV shows, the villains are, filthy rich guys, it's kind of crazy. And so I think we do ourselves a disservice by buying into that. And I think someone else mentioned it earlier, is that the media, I think it was Amy, mentioned that the media doesn't help, and I think that's totally true. We think that, we've just sort of been conditioned to think of, making money as taking money instead of making money as exchanging, goods and services for other resources, right? It's all resources. We are a resource. Money is a resource. Everything flows that way. And when we do that, I find that one thing I have a hard time with, that my coach continually calls me out on, and I think it probably extends to you in a lot of ways, is asking for the money, asking for the sale. Actually going through and saying, you know what, this is what we could do together. Because here's the deal. In a perfect world, it would be where people just come to me and they want to pay me all of this money, and and to some extent that happens in my other business. So I think it sort of became this thing that I didn't really have to worry about because it just sort of happens there. And it's not that I'm not asking for the sale, it's just a different way of asking for the sale. It's not usually one-on-one, right? It's on a webinar or in an email series or something crazy. And so it feels very different. Sorry, I have granola in my mouth. Anyway, in my gums and lips. And so we get caught up in that. We get confused. We feel lost, all of those different things, and it just feels strange, right? So, I want to encourage you to ask for the sale in some way. It's totally uncomfortable, right? Because we want people to come to us, we want people to trust us immediately. But if you think about it, how many times, or we also just want to serve. I think that's also part of it. We want to serve, and we want people to give what they think is the value. The trouble is sometimes people don't know what the value is, right? And so we have to be a part of educating, of being examples and stepping out and moving forward, right? Being the first people to do it. We have to be that light, right? It has to start somewhere, and I am darned if it's not going to start with us, right? So we need to start seeing ourselves for how talented we are and put ourselves out there. So that's step one. So, like, I was just on the phone with someone today, and they had all this experience in what they wanted to do their business about, but they just weren't feeling confident and, like, didn't want to put anything together because they were just nervous. And as I was like, okay, well, let's look at what you've done and your experience, and she was recounting it. I'm like, I don't know why you're not confident. Like, it sounds like you've done amazing things. Hey, Lindsay. And I've had the same conversation with, like, my coach. Like, you just get stuck in not wanting to put yourself out there. You just want people to trust you, take your word for it without sharing some of those things, and we feel like it's bragging. But one thing I've had to make my sort of semi-motto for now is that selling is serving, because it's nuanced. So selling not only is me providing my services to them, right? So that's in a way it's serving. Two, it's in a way that they will take it more seriously because they invested, so they won't take me for granted. And three, it enables me to continue serving and serve other people while also keeping myself healthy. And because if all I did was serve, then and never asked for a sale ever, then I'm doing myself a disservice because I'm not actually building a business. I'm building some kind of ministry. But even ministries need money, right? They don't exist on nothing. They ask for money. I know that because I did that for years. For 5 years, I asked people for money in writing, but still, because they need that to thrive. And so, in order to make the impact you want to make, you need resources. You need help. I need resources. I need help. I need all of those things. Those things are important. Those things are good. And your gifts are worth being paid for. Your gifts are, yeah, they're worthy. And we just sit, and I think part of that is confidence, but the other part is just that we don't want to be pushy. We don't want to be greedy. We don't want to feel like we're stepping on people. And I think the fact that you're thinking about those things means that you won't be, right? It means that you won't be. Laborers deserve to be paid, right, Lindsay? I mean, the Bible even says that, right? Like, every laborer deserves his fair wages. Like, you're doing a service. You are helping people. You are making a difference in the world, and you're hanging on by a thread because you're afraid to ask. So, make sure that you are not asking and putting that block in your money mindset to where you're saying, well, I'm serving and nobody's paying me. Maybe nobody's paying you because you haven't asked them to be paid. It's the same thing with your list, or your content. Are you just putting it out there? Are you building something in a vacuum? Are you, do you even have a way for people to get on your list? Do you have a way for people to buy your stuff? Are you making systems that actually make you money so that you can impact more people? All of those things, they can be scary, and I'm here to tell you that I totally get that. I still struggle with this every single day, but you need to remember the true place of money, and when you put money ahead like that, then you're giving them license to put money ahead like that, and in that way it's becoming a block to your abundance and their abundance, right? Because the truth is, money creates community. We all need it. You'll go to Starbucks to buy that cup of coffee, and that cup of coffee supports workers all over the world and down into, the laborers who make the coffee. All of that goes into that. But sometimes we don't want to pay the person who wants to actually help us go further in life or business or whatever. And so I think part of it is we have wrong priorities, and part of it is just fear. I think it's just fear. And so I think we need to start moving past that. We need to start getting our minds and our hearts into what's right and what's good, and the fact is that we know God will provide for us, but we have to do our part, and sometimes our part is asking. I mean, even God asks, right? He asks us to give back. He asks us to be cheerful givers. He asks us to ask Him for stuff. All of that is God asking. He's setting the example for us to ask other people too, so that we can all be supported. So as you're going about your day and your time, you need to be asking. You need to be selling. Doesn't mean all the time. Doesn't mean you shouldn't provide value. It means you need to do all of that, and you need to do it in a balanced way. So yeah, I think it's important that we remember who we are, remember whose we are, and remember that we have the authority to use our gifts and the right to be paid for them. So let's get out and make and serve people by selling our stuff, because it is serving. So, okay, sorry, I feel like that was a quick rant. I didn't mean for it to be a rant, but it just kind of goes that way sometimes. I just get really passionate about this because it's so close to my heart and so recent for me. I would say this is like, I went through all of that I'm sharing this week about 6 months ago when I really started this business. And it's really been transformative for me to continue to go through that and to see how y'all are seeing those insights and turning that into your lives. And so I just ask you to reflect today. Reflect today. Yeah, preaching, not ranting. Thank you. Reflect today on what it really means to serve people with your gifts and what that really looks like. And whether you're in ministry or you're in business, you need to be supported somehow, and money's going to be part of that. So either way, we have to get used to asking. All right, I'm hopping off now. Have a little bit more work to get done today, but I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.